Have you ever wondered what secrets were hidden behind the golden lights of old Hollywood? The golden age of Hollywood wasn't just about glamorous gowns, dreamy smiles, and unforgettable movies. Beneath the perfect image, some of the biggest stars had personal lives they had to keep hidden. Today, we're uncovering the untold stories of 15 secretly lesbian stars of Hollywood's golden age. These were women who had to navigate love and identity in an era when being anything other than traditional was taboo. From Katherine Hepburn's groundbreaking independence to Marlene Dietrich's fearless self-expression, their lives were just as fascinating off-screen as they were on. Let's take a closer look at their stories, starting with a true Hollywood legend. Greta Garbo, often called the most beautiful woman in the world, was one of Hollywood's most mysterious and fascinating stars. Known for her expressive face and iconic roles in films like Anna Karenina and Camille, Garbo captivated audiences not just with her talent but with her enigmatic personality. While Garbo kept her personal life intensely private, whispers about her sexuality have persisted for decades. She never married and rarely spoke about relationships publicly, which only fueled the speculation. Biographers and Hollywood insiders suggest that Garbo had deep and passionate relationships with women, including her childhood friend, Swedish actress Mimi Pollack, and writer Mercedes de Acosta. One of the most intriguing rumors about Garbo involves another Hollywood icon, Marlene Dietrich. It's said that the two had a secret romantic relationship when Garbo was just 19 years old and still finding her way in the industry. Though details of their connection remain elusive, some letters and accounts hint at a complicated bond between the two stars. Garbo also had a well-documented friendship with writer Mercedes de Acosta, who reportedly fell deeply in love with her. Letters between the two reveal a heartfelt intimacy, though Garbo was much more reserved about making their relationship public. In one letter, De Acosta expressed her longing and affection for Garbo. But Garbo's responses often reflected her guarded nature, a result of her need for privacy in a judgmental world. Interestingly, despite her romantic connections with women, Garbo was often paired with male co-stars in Hollywood's carefully constructed narratives. Her supposed relationship with John Gilbert, a leading man of the silent film era, was heavily publicized, but many believe it was more of a friendship than a love affair. Garbo's need for privacy extended beyond her love life. She famously avoided interviews, rarely attended public events, and retired from acting at the height of her career. When asked why she left Hollywood, she simply said, "I want to be alone," a phrase that became as iconic as her films. Greta Garbo's legacy is one of intrigue and timeless beauty. Her decision to guard her private life in a time when Hollywood demanded full control over its stars is a testament to her strength and independence. While the details of her personal relationships remain shrouded in mystery, there's no doubt that Garbo lived life on her terms, quietly challenging the norms of her era. Katherine Hepburn wasn't just a Hollywood actress, she was a trailblazer who broke boundaries in everything from fashion to her personal life. Known for her roles in classics like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, The Lion in Winter, and On Golden Pond, Katherine redefined what it meant to be a leading lady. She was bold, intelligent, and fiercely independent, both on and off screen. But behind the spotlight, there was another side to Katherine that wasn't part of the Hollywood narrative. According to Scotty Bowers, a Hollywood insider and author, Katherine preferred the company of women in her personal life. Bowers claimed she once asked him to find sweet, dark-haired girls for her, adding that she dated over 150 women during her lifetime. While these claims have been debated, many believe they shine a light on a private life Katherine never shared publicly. One of the reasons Katherine's personal life was kept so private was Hollywood itself. The golden age of film wasn't just about movies. It was about crafting the perfect image for every star. Studios were deeply invested in creating public personas for their actors. And for Katherine, that meant pushing the idea that she and Spencer Tracy were a romantic couple. While Katherine and Spencer did have an undeniable bond, many believe their love story was more fiction than fact. The two shared a deep friendship, and Katherine was even by Spencer's side during his later years when his health declined. However, those close to the Hollywood scene suggest their relationship was a mutually beneficial arrangement that allowed them both to avoid public scrutiny. Katherine's defiance of societal norms extended beyond her relation. She famously wore pants at a time when it was considered scandalous for women. She refused to fit the mold of a glamorous feminine starlet, instead choosing a practical, no-nonsense style that became her trademark. In a time when Hollywood expected women to stay silent, Katherine spoke her mind. Her life was a balancing act, staying true to herself in private while playing the role Hollywood expected of her in public. Even decades later, Katherine Hepburn remains an icon, not only for her groundbreaking acting career, but for the quiet strength it took to live authentically in an era that demanded conformity. Patsy Kelly was one of Hollywood's funniest and most endearing actresses, known for her sharp wit and comedic timing. In the 1930s, she often played sassy best friends in movies like The Girl from Missouri and Merrily We Live. While her on-screen roles brought laughter to audiences, her personal life was groundbreaking in its own right. Unlike many stars of her time, Patsy was remarkably open about her sexuality. In an era when even the hint of queerness could ruin a career, Patsy lived her truth unapologetically. She openly talked about being homosexual during her career, even telling magazines that she lived with her girlfriend and had no plans to marry. This kind of honesty was unheard of in Hollywood at the time, where studios went to great lengths to hide their stars' personal lives. One of Patsy's most famous relationships was with Tallulah Bankhead, a fellow Hollywood rebel. The two were known for their bold personalities and unconventional lifestyles. Their connection wasn't just romantic, it was also a meeting of two strong, independent women who refused to conform to societal expectations. Patsy's openness about her sexuality came at a cost. Hollywood wasn't kind to those who strayed too far from its carefully curated image of perfection, and Patsy found herself relegated to supporting roles throughout her career. While her talent was undeniable, her honesty about her personal life likely limited her opportunities in an industry that demanded silence and conformity. Despite these challenges, Patsy remained true to herself. She became a cult favorite for fans of classic Hollywood, remembered for both her hilarious performances and her courage to live authentically. Today, she stands as a pioneer for LGBTQ+ representation in the entertainment world, proving that being yourself is a strength, not a weakness. Tallulah Bankhead was one of the boldest, most charismatic personalities of Hollywood's golden age. Known for her sharp wit, booming voice, and fearless attitude, she left an unforgettable mark both on screen and off. Bankhead's work in films like Lifeboat and her legendary stage performances showcased her immense talent, but her personal life was just as captivating. Unlike many stars of her time, Tallulah was refreshingly open about her sexuality. She didn't just ignore societal norms, she smashed right through them. Bankhead famously said, "I'm a lesbian, what do you do?" Her unapologetic confidence made her a figure ahead of her time, even if it came with its challenges. Tallulah had a long list of rumored relationships with both men and women. Her female lovers allegedly included some of the biggest names in Hollywood, like Greta Garbo, Marlene Dietrich, and Patsy Kelly. While many of these relationships remained private, Tallulah didn't shy away from playful hints. She was known for her flirtatious charm, often making risque remarks in public. One of her most talked about relationships was with actress Patsy Kelly. The two shared a connection that went beyond friendship, and Kelly often spoke about their time together with admiration. Tallulah also had ties to writer Mercedes de Acosta, another well-known figure in Hollywood's secret queer community. Despite her daring openness, Bankhead often walked a fine line between rebellion and self-preservation. While she didn't officially come out by today's standards, her behavior and candidness made her one of the most outspoken figures of her time. She thrived on controversy, once claiming, "My father warned me about men and alcohol, but he never said a word about women and cocaine." Bankhead's refusal to conform wasn't just about her relationship. She was a trailblazer in every sense. challenging gender roles, social norms, and even Hollywood's expectations of women. Her free-spirited nature and ability to embrace who she was made her an icon for LGBTQ+ individuals long before there was widespread acceptance. Though Tallulah's life was filled with extravagance and excess, her legacy as a fearless, unapologetic woman endures. She remains a symbol of courage, individuality, and living authentically, even in a world that wasn't ready for her truth. Mercedes de Acosta wasn't a Hollywood star in the traditional sense, but her impact on the golden age of Hollywood is undeniable. She was a poet, playwright, and writer known as much for her bold lifestyle as for her creative works. De Acosta lived unapologetically as a lesbian during a time when most people in the entertainment industry had to hide their true selves. What made Mercedes stand out was her extraordinary ability to charm some of the most iconic women of her time. She had rumored or confirmed relationships with Hollywood legends like Greta Garbo, Marlene Dietrich, Alla Nazimova, and even Isadora Duncan. She was deeply romantic, often writing passionate letters and poetry for her lovers. Her love for Greta Garbo was particularly well documented. Though Garbo was famously private, their relationship was hinted at in letters and memoirs. De Acosta's openness came with its challenges. Her 1960 memoir, Here Lies the Heart, detailed many of her relationships, making it one of the first books to publicly reveal the private lives of Hollywood stars. While some praised her for her honesty, others, including Greta Garbo, were unhappy with the exposure. Garbo, in particular, ended their friendship after the book's publication. Mercedes was also a member of the infamous Sewing Circle, a secret group of queer women in Hollywood. The group provided a supportive community for women navigating love and identity in a society that forced them to live in secret. Beyond her personal life, Mercedes was a talented writer and a trailblazer for LGBTQ+ visibility in an era that demanded silence. She lived her life with courage and authenticity, refusing to let society's expectations dictate who she was. While her openness sometimes cost her friendships and caused controversy, Mercedes de Acosta remains a symbol of fearless self-expression and an essential figure in queer Hollywood history. Marlene Dietrich was the epitome of Hollywood glamour, a trailblazer who redefined what it meant to be a star. Known for her smoky voice, striking looks, and daring roles, she became an icon in films like Morocco and Shanghai Express. But it wasn't just her acting or her fashion that made her unforgettable. It was her unapologetic boldness in every aspect of her life. Dietrich was one of the first women in Hollywood to break gender norms on a global stage. She famously wore men's suits both on and off the screen, a style that shocked audiences but also inspired countless women to embrace a new kind of power dressing. Her androgynous look wasn't just a fashion statement, it was a declaration of self-expression and freedom. When it came to her personal life, Dietrich didn't shy away from her desires, even if she had to keep some of them discreet. She was openly flirtatious and adventurous in her relationships. While she married film producer Rudolf Sieber and remained married to him her entire life, their relationship was unconventional. Both pursued other romantic interests, with Dietrich being especially open about her attraction to women. Her rumored lovers included some of the biggest names of the time, such as actress Greta Garbo, singer Edith Piaf, and writer Mercedes de Acosta. Dietrich's daughter, Maria Riva, later confirmed her mother's relationships with women, stating that her mother's affairs with men were often about control or power, but her relationships with women were emotionally fulfilling and authentic. Perhaps what made Dietrich so fascinating was her fearless attitude. She lived life unapologetically, refusing to be boxed into any label or expectation. Critics and admirers alike struggled to define her. Was she bisexual, lesbian, or something else? Kenneth Tynan, a prominent critic, famously said, "Dietrich has sex without gender. Even in a time when being open about one's sexuality could end a career, Dietrich embraced her identity in ways that were both subtle and revolutionary. She managed to maintain her image as a glamorous star while quietly challenging the norms of her era. Today, Marlene Dietrich isn't just remembered for her movies or her style. She's celebrated as a symbol of defiance, individuality, and the courage it takes to live authentically, even in a world that demands you conform. Alla Nazimova was a true pioneer in Hollywood, a silent film star, producer, and director who defied expectations at every turn. Originally from Russia, she rose to fame on Broadway before transitioning to Hollywood, where she became one of the most influential figures in early cinema. Nazimova wasn't just an actress, she was a visionary who produced and starred in experimental films like Salome, a bold and artistic project ahead of its time. While her career was remarkable, her personal life was equally fascinating. Alla Nazimova was one of Hollywood's first openly queer figures, living her truth in an era when doing so was considered scandalous. She had relationships with many prominent women, including actress Eva Le Gallienne, director Dorothy Arzner, and writer Mercedes de Acosta. Nazimova is often credited with coining the term sewing circle, a code name for the secret community of lesbian and bisexual women in Hollywood. The sewing circle allowed women in the industry to connect, support one another, and explore their identities away from the harsh judgment of the public and studios. One of the most striking aspects of Nazimova's life was her home, the Garden of Alla, a grand estate on Sunset Boulevard. The mansion became a safe haven for Hollywood's queer elite, hosting extravagant parties where stars could relax and be themselves without fear of exposure. It was a rare space of freedom in an otherwise restrictive time. Despite her openness, Nazimova wasn't without challenge. Her decision to live authentically likely impacted her career, as Hollywood's rigid studio system had little tolerance for non-conformity. By the mid-1920s, her career began to decline, but she remained an influential figure behind the scenes, mentoring other artists and staying connected to the creative community. Alla Nazimova's legacy goes far beyond her films. She was a trailblazer who pushed boundaries both artistically and personally. Her courage to embrace her identity and create a space for others to do the same makes her a vital figure in LGBTQ+ history and Hollywood lore. Barbara Stanwyck was one of the most talented and versatile actresses of Hollywood's golden age. She shined in classics like Double Indemnity and Stella Dallas, earning multiple Academy Award nominations throughout her career. Known for her strong, independent characters, Stanwyck often played women who defied societal norms, and in many ways that reflected her real life. While publicly, Stanwyck was known as a glamorous Hollywood star, her private life was the subject of much speculation. She was married twice, first to vaudeville performer Frank Fay and later to actor Robert Taylor, but both marriages were reportedly troubled. After her divorce from Taylor in 1951, Stanwyck never remarried, instead surrounding herself with close female friends, which fueled rumors about her sexuality. One of her most significant relationships was with her publicist and confidant, Helen Ferguson. The two shared a close bond, leading some Hollywood insiders to suggest that their connection may have gone beyond friendship. Stanwyck also fostered strong relationships with other women in the industry, often protecting and mentoring them. Barbara's private life remained just that, private. She was known to be intensely guarded, rarely giving interviews or discussing her personal relationships. This secrecy only added to the rumors about her sexuality, but Stanwyck never addressed them publicly. Some historians believe this silence was a deliberate choice to protect her career, as Hollywood in the mid-20th century was not a safe space for openly queer individuals. Barbara Stanwyck was also a trailblazer in breaking traditional gender roles. Off-screen, she often wore tailored suits and preferred a more masculine style, challenging the ultra-feminine image Hollywood expected of its actresses. This confidence in her identity resonated with many fans, making her a symbol of strength and individuality. Despite the speculation, Barbara Stanwyck remains a complex figure in Hollywood history. Whether or not she identified as lesbian or bisexual, her legacy is one of resilience and independence. she paved the way for women to take charge of their careers and live on their own terms, making her a true icon of her time. Ruby Dandridge might not be as well known as some of the stars on this list, but her story is just as compelling. A talented actress, she appeared in classic films like King Kong and Cabin in the Sky. However, Ruby is perhaps best remembered as the mother of Dorothy Dandridge, the groundbreaking actress who became the first black woman nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. Ruby's personal life was unconventional for her time. She was married to Cyril Dandridge, with whom she had 2 daughters, Dorothy and Vivian. However, after her marriage ended, Ruby moved to Los Angeles and began living with Geneva Williams. Williams, often referred to as Ruby's lifelong companion, played a significant role in raising Dorothy and Vivian. The nature of Ruby and Geneva's relationship has long been a topic of discussion. While it's difficult to find definitive evidence about their romantic connection, many writers and historians have suggested that they were more than just friends. In a time when queer relationships had to be hidden, it's possible that Ruby and Geneva supported one another not only as co-parents but also as partners in love. Ruby's relationship with Geneva wasn't without challenges. Geneva was reportedly a strict disciplinarian, especially with Dorothy, which caused tension in the family. However, the bond with Ruby provided a sense of stability that allowed her to continue pursuing her acting career in Hollywood, even as she navigated the complexities of her personal life. Ruby Dandridge's story is a reminder of the quiet strength it took to live authentically in a society that often didn't allow for it. While she wasn't a leading lady, her contributions to Hollywood and her role in supporting her daughter's rise to stardom are part of a legacy that continues to inspire. Dorothy Arzner was a trailblazer in Hollywood, not just as a director, but also as a woman who unapologetically lived her truth. She was one of the few female directors during the 1920s and 1930s, breaking barriers in an industry dominated by men. Arzner directed some of the era's most iconic films, working with stars like Katherine Hepburn, Joan Crawford, and Rosalind Russell. Beyond her remarkable career, Dorothy Arzner's personal life was equally groundbreaking. She lived openly as a lesbian at a time when most people in Hollywood had to hide their true selves. Arzner had a long-term relationship with Marion Morgan, a choreographer and dancer, which lasted over 40 years. The two lived together and shared a life that was rare for queer couples of that time, especially in the public eye. Arzner's influence extended beyond her films and personal relationships. She was part of the infamous Sewing Circle, a secret network of lesbian and bisexual women in Hollywood who supported each other while maintaining discretion. Within this group, Arzner found a sense of community and solidarity, allowing her to navigate her identity in an era of strict societal norms. One of the most fascinating aspects of Arzner's life was her style. She embraced a masculine fashion sense, often seen in tailored suits that made her stand out in an industry obsessed with feminine glamour. Her boldness in defying gender norms was a form of quiet rebellion that inspired those around her. Despite the challenges of being a woman and a queer woman working in Hollywood, Dorothy Arzner left an indelible mark on the film industry. She was the first woman to join the Directors Guild of America, and her films remain a testament to her talent and vision. Arzner's life and career remind us that authenticity and courage can leave a lasting legacy, even in a world that demands conformity. She is celebrated today as a pioneer not only for women in film, but also for LGBTQ+ individuals who refuse to let societal expectations define them. At number 11, Mercedes de Acosta. Mercedes de Acosta wasn't a Hollywood actress, but her life was deeply intertwined with the stars of the Golden Age. She was a poet, playwright, and novelist, but she's most famously remembered for her romantic relationships with some of the most iconic women in Hollywood. Mercedes was one of the few women of her time to live openly as a lesbian, making her a fascinating and bold figure in LGBTQ+ history. Mercedes had rumored or confirmed relationships with stars like Greta Garbo, Marlene Dietrich, Alla Nazimova, and Isadora Duncan. Her relationship with Greta Garbo, in particular, has been the subject of much speculation. Mercedes adored Garbo and wrote her love letters that revealed the depth of her feelings. While Garbo was famously private, their connection has been immortalized through their correspondence and accounts from those who knew them. One of Mercedes' most significant contributions to Hollywood's LGBTQ+ history was her candidness. Her memoir, Here Lies the Heart, published in 1960, was a groundbreaking work that openly discussed her relationships with some of the most famous women of her era. While it was a bold move, it wasn't without consequences. Some of her former lovers, like Garbo, were upset about the revelation, and Mercedes faced backlash for being so open about her private life. Mercedes was also a member of the infamous Sewing Circle, a covert network of lesbian and bisexual women in Hollywood. The group provided a safe space for women to connect, love, and express themselves in an industry that required them to keep their identities hidden. While her openness about her sexuality and relationships may have made her controversial in her time, today, Mercedes de Acosta is celebrated as a trailblazer. Her life and legacy remind us of the importance of living authentically, even when the world isn't ready to accept it. At number 12, Marion Davies. Marion Davies was one of the most glamorous stars of the 1920s and 1930s, known for her roles in silent films and early talkies. She captured the hearts of audiences with her charm, beauty, and comedic talent in films like Show People and The Patsy. Outside of her acting career, she became famous for her long-term relationship with William Randolph Hearst, the powerful media mogul. However, behind the public image of the perfect Hollywood starlet, Marion's private life has been the subject of much speculation. While her relationship with Hearst dominated headlines, rumors about her romantic connections with women have quietly persisted for decades. One of the most talked about rumors involves her supposed relationship with actress Joan Crawford. The two were said to have shared a special bond, though the nature of their connection was never publicly confirmed. In those days, Hollywood stars had to maintain a certain image, and any unconventional relationships were kept out of the public eye. Marion was known to surround herself with creative, vibrant individuals, including many women in the entertainment industry. Her private life was guarded, but some insiders suggested that her relationships with women may have been just as significant as her famous romance with Hearst. Later in life, Marion retreated from the public spotlight, choosing to live a quieter life. She never addressed the rumors about her sexuality, preferring to let her career and legacy speak for itself. Marion Davies remains an enigmatic figure in Hollywood history. Whether she was involved in romantic relationships with women or not, her independence, talent, and ability to thrive in a male-dominated industry make her an enduring icon of the Golden Age. At number 13, Bette Davis. Bette Davis was one of the most iconic and accomplished actresses of Hollywood's Golden Age. Known for her intense performances and strong-willed characters, Davis starred in classics like All About Eve and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. She earned 10 Academy Award nominations and left an indelible mark on the film industry. While Bette Davis was publicly married 4 times, her private life has long been the subject of speculation. Rumors about her sexuality have persisted for decades, particularly about her relationships with women in Hollywood. One name that frequently comes up is Mercedes de Acosta, the openly lesbian writer who had romantic ties with many stars of the era. Though there's no definitive proof of a romantic relationship between Davis and de Acosta, their connection has been a topic of fascination. Bette also had intense and sometimes complicated friendships with several female colleagues, leading some to speculate that these relationships might have gone beyond platonic. However, Davis never publicly addressed these rumors. She was famously private about her personal life, preferring to focus on her work and craft. One aspect of Bette Davis's life that sets her apart was her defiance of traditional gender roles. On screen and off, she embodied strength and independence, qualities that weren't typically associated with women in Hollywood at the time. Her boldness made her a trailblazer and an inspiration for future generations. Whether the rumors about her sexuality are true or not, Bette Davis lived life on her own terms. Her legacy is defined by her unparalleled talent, fierce determination, and ability to challenge expectations both on screen and behind the scenes. She remains a symbol of empowerment and individuality in Hollywood history. At number 14, Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford was one of the most celebrated actresses of Hollywood's golden age, known for her dramatic performances and glamorous image. With iconic roles in films like Mildred Pierce and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Crawford cemented her place as one of the most enduring stars in cinema history. But beyond the fame and awards, Joan's private life was filled with intrigue and speculation, especially about her relationships. While Crawford was often portrayed as a man-eater by the press, rumors of her bisexuality have persisted for decades. After her death, shocking revelations about her personal life emerged, including claims that she had romantic relationships with women like Barbara Stanwyck, Marilyn Monroe, and Tallulah Bankhead. These relationships, if true, would have been kept tightly under wraps during her lifetime, as Hollywood studios worked hard to maintain a public image of their stars as heterosexual. One particularly interesting connection was with Mercedes de Acosta, the openly lesbian writer who was romantically linked to many stars of the era. While there's no definitive proof of a romantic relationship between Crawford and de Acosta, the two were known to run in the same social circle. Crawford's ability to build close and intense relationships with women only added to the rumors about her sexuality. Crawford's personal life was always a topic of fascination, not just because of her rumored relationships, but also because of her complex personality. She was ambitious, fiercely independent, and deeply protective of her public image. These qualities made her both a Hollywood legend and a subject of controversy. Despite the whispers about her private life, Joan Crawford left an indelible mark on the film industry. Whether or not the rumors about her sexuality are true, she stands as an example of a woman who defied expectations and carved out her own legacy in a male-dominated industry. At number 15, Lorraine Hansberry. Lorraine Hansberry was a brilliant playwright and activist best known for her groundbreaking play, A Raisin in the Sun. The first black woman to have a play produced on Broadway, Hansberry used her art to explore issues of race, class, and identity. Her work broke barriers, earning critical acclaim and inspiring generations of writers. But Hansberry's impact wasn't limited to her art. Her personal life also made her a trailblazer. She was a proud member of the LGBTQ+ community, even if she couldn't live openly due to the societal pressures of her time. Hansberry's letters and private writings reveal her struggles with her identity and her deep desire for equality, not only for African Americans, but for LGBTQ+ individuals as well. Hansberry's contributions to queer history are often overlooked, but she was quietly involved in the fight for LGBTQ+ rights. She wrote under a pseudonym for The Ladder, the first nationally distributed lesbian magazine in the US, addressing topics like gender roles, identity, and the challenges faced by queer women. Her essays and letters reveal a woman deeply committed to justice and equality, even as she navigated her own identity in a society that demanded silence. In her personal life, Hansberry had relationships with women, though much of her romantic life remains private. She married Robert Nemiroff, a white Jewish songwriter and activist, but their relationship evolved into a deep friendship as Hansberry explored her sexuality. Despite living in an era where coming out could ruin one's career and reputation, Hansberry's writings and activism showcased her courage to advocate for her truth. Lorraine Hansberry's legacy goes far beyond her contributions to theatre. She was a revolutionary voice who fought against oppression in all its forms, whether through her art or her activism. Today, she stands as a symbol of resilience, authenticity, and the power of living with purpose. And that's a wrap on the 15 secretly lesbian stars of the golden age of Hollywood. These women weren't just icons of their time. They were trailblazers who quietly challenged societal norms and paved the way for future generations to live authentically. Their stories remind us that behind the glamour of Hollywood, There were real people navigating love, identity, and the complexities of a world that wasn't ready to accept them. Each of these stars left a legacy, not just in film and music, but in courage and individuality. Which story surprised you the most? Or is there someone you think should have been on this list? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating Hollywood history. And don't forget to click the bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.